From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Well, Tuesday was officially declared DeMarcus Ware Day in the state of Alabama. Devereaux Bogart was in the capital city with a look at the signing of the day's official proclamation.
And for all the
April 19th, 2016 has not been just another Tuesday. Instead, today has gone down in Alabama history as a day dedicated to Alabama native and NFL star DeMarcus Ware. This recognition of Super Bowl champion Ware has been declared by Governor Robert Bentley, formally proclaiming today for all of Alabama DeMarcus Ware Day.
This is really a very exciting day for the state of Alabama, for Troy University.
Not only was Ware recognized as a resident of Alabama, he was commended as an outstanding Troy University alumnus.
Today is a great day because we could not have a better ambassador and a better person representing Troy University, a great university that's doing great things in this state. And every time you watch a ball game with the Denver Broncos, they say, DeMarcus Ware, Troy University. That makes my heart pound, and I hope it does every other Trojan who is out there.
You know, all of us are so blessed to know so many winners in life, and you'd look far and wide before you'd find a better person. He's a great football player, but he's a greater man. And so I want to say to DeMarcus how proud we are of him.
Ware has had a legendary career in the NFL, and today at the Capitol, he attributed his success to his humble beginnings right here in Alabama.
They say it takes a village to raise a man. And as a father, I see the importance of the village in my own children. These accomplishments wouldn't be possible at all if I didn't encounter the people in my own village.
DeMarcus Ware Day celebrations will not end here. They will continue well into the evening at Trojan Arena as Ware will be presented Troy University's 15th Distinguished Leader Award. In Montgomery, Devereaux Bogart, Troy TrojanVision News.
As Devereaux alluded to, Tuesday was a big day for the Trojan legend and Super Bowl champion. After his time in Montgomery, DeMarcus Ware returned to Trojan territory to be honored by his alma mater. Ryan Renfro has the details.
This is really a very exciting day.
April 19th, a day now better known as DeMarcus Ware Day in the state of Alabama. The former Trojan football star and current Super Bowl champion ventured back into his homeland yesterday to be greeted by fellow Trojans. Kicking off his tour, Ware spent the morning tackling the state capitol, and after that, the celebration continued, and DeMarcus Ware Day came to life.
Today has been one of those days where you have that out-of-body experience, to where you talk to the governor, you talk to the lieutenant governor, I mean, people that are very, very important to this state that run things, but not only being part of the House, meaning the Capitol. You get a, DeMarcus Ware Day.
Much like his Super Bowl performance, DeMarcus Ware was everywhere today in the state of Alabama. He started off his day in Montgomery, and then he moved to Trojan territory, inside Trojan Arena, among the roars and cheers of Trojan faithful.
Coming down to your roots, where you worked hard at, and always in football you say, the blood, sweat, and tears, each and every season, and you get the familiar faces of your trainers and coaches and everybody that's been down here.
Those familiar faces of his past were accompanied by familiar faces of his present. NFL stars that we have all grown to love almost as much as DeMarcus. And as the Trojan great continues on into his career, Trojans expect more success from number 94. And look ahead to April 19th. Ryan Renfro, Troy TrojanVision News.
Stay tuned in the show. We'll actually hear more from DeMarcus Ware later at the end of the show. And while a nationally known athlete was on campus this week, another visitor with some national recognition was on campus as well to share a little economic theory. Sarah Singletary has the story.
Troy University's Johnson Center for Political Economy welcomed author and nationally syndicated columnist Walter Williams to campus on Wednesday to share his views on economic policy.
Well, I'm going to try to sell our fellow Americans on the moral superiority of personal liberty and its main ingredient, limited government. And that's a pretty hard job to do. Most Americans think that government ought to be doing more, ought to be doing exactly what it's doing, and I'm just thinking that's not the vision of our founders.
Williams says he appreciates the opportunity to share his ideas with a college-age audience because the lessons he shares could live on long after he is gone.
Because that's the future of America, and they have far more at stake in a growing and prosperous country than I have, because I'll be leaving this country pretty soon. I think it's very, very important to try to convince younger people that they ought to read the United States Constitution and try to honor the ideas and principles of the founding.
Although Williams traditionally has a national forum to share his views, he says spreading his message to a smaller audience in Troy comes across the same.
Well, it's no different. The message is the same, and maybe the responses differ according to different places I go, but the message is the same.
Wednesday's visit was a return trip to Troy for Williams, who says he enjoys the opportunity to visit the state.
Well, this is not my first time coming to Troy. I think it was about 27 years ago, and I find it a very, very delightful place to be, and I find just traveling to Alabama is a wonderful place.
Sarah Singletary, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Troy University has a new addition coming to the Montgomery campus that will offer both students and the folks that work in downtown Montgomery a new food and beverage option. Devereaux Bogart has a preview of the new campus bookstore that's nearing completion.
Craving a cup of cocoa and a croissant while visiting the Capitol? Well, you are in luck. Troy University's Montgomery campus is now home to the coffee shop chain Starbucks, located in the Barnes & Noble bookstore in Whitley Hall.
We're here to celebrate our brand new Starbucks cafe. Ever since the press release that happened in October, everyone was asking for it, and it's now here.
You know, I think the Barnes & Noble cafes could be a great addition to the Montgomery area. You know, the downtown community is really thriving. It's really building up, and I think this is a good element to help that growth.
Students, university employees, and others have been able to buy a cup of coffee since the soft opening last week, but the grand opening will take place later this month. But Myers said he has been very pleased with the reviews so far.
Very good reviews so far. We had a little soft opening last week. We were doing a few testing of drinks, and mostly from faculty and staff, and they were very appreciative and enjoying the cups of coffee that they received.
When completed, the coffee shop will have outdoor tables and doors with direct access to Montgomery Street in efforts to be more welcoming to people of downtown Montgomery and neighboring businesses.
We're still working on the front door, and the windows have been updated, so we are still open to the public. We have a secondary entrance that is open that people can come get their coffee right now.
Yeah, we're really excited about the location here. You know, obviously we have the base of Troy Montgomery students. We have the Capitol customers to draw from, the courthouse customers, and we know that the other areas of downtown Montgomery are really growing, so we think we're a good central location that will cater to all those needs.
Hamas said the Starbucks will have monthly specials and events geared to bring in the Montgomery community. In Montgomery, Devereaux Bogart, Troy, TrojanVision News.
This week, Troy University recognized academic excellence at the annual Honors Convocation, and among those honored were the newest initiates into the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society. Samantha Charles has the details.
Phi Kappa Phi is the oldest and largest collegiate honor society dedicated to the recognition of academic excellence in all fields of study. And on Monday morning, Troy University's chapter held its initiation ceremony in Claudia Crosby Theater.
Phi Kappa Phi is a multidisciplinary honor society. In fact, it's one of the most prestigious in the nation because it recognizes students from all disciplines. Most honor societies are discipline specific, like Phi Beta Kappa that you hear so much about. It's just for arts and sciences. You know, and every specific discipline has its own honor society, but Phi Kappa Phi is for all students, regardless of what their major is or what discipline they're in.
There are many honors given this time of year across this nation, you know, to university students who are academically stellar. This one's one of the largest as far as being interdisciplinary. It means that as a senior, you're in the top 10%, or if you're a junior, the top 7.5% of your class across all disciplines, whether it's business or art or dance or whatever it might be. So really, it means you're kind of the cream of the crop across the entire spectrum of academia.
Phi Kappa Phi provides $1 million in grants and awards each year to outstanding students and members. However, membership is by invitation only to the top 7.5% of juniors and the top 10% of seniors and graduate students.
I'm very proud of all of these students who were inducted today. They have accomplished something that 90% of students don't do, and that's just very exciting. You know, it represents a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, and of course a lot of support usually from their families, and I appreciate that, and I'm so proud of them. You know, when they walk across, I guess I'm motherly, it's like my children, and I'm, so excited that they've done this. So it's a wonderful honor, and I'm so proud for all of these students.
Phi Kappa Phi was founded in 1897 at the University of Maine and has chapters on more than 300 colleges and universities in the United States and the Philippines. And the Troy University chapter of Phi Kappa Phi was chartered in 1971. Samantha Charles, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We're going to take a short break, but when we return, we'll see how Troy residents help feed the hungry by filling some empty bowls. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is Dr. Daniel Smith. He's an expert in domestic and international economics. But his proudest achievement is connecting with his students and helping them accomplish more than they ever thought possible. That's the warrior spirit, and it's alive and well at Troy University. Feel it at troy.edu/spirit.
Oh, it's gonna be great. I think it goes around. Let's go. We gotta get you in practice. And it's set.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Last Friday, area residents enjoyed a meal as a way to feed the hungry in Pike County. Samantha Charles has the details from the Salvation Army Empty Bowls Luncheon.
Over 200 people attended the Empty Bowls event at Bush Memorial Baptist Church. The Empty Bowls Luncheon helps to raise both money and awareness in the fight to end hunger.
This is our 7th annual Empty Bowls, and there's so many people that came together here to make this event a success. Volunteers, the community, everything was donated, so 100% of the proceeds goes to the Salvation Army Food Bank, which helps feed the hungry in Pike County.
The concept is simple. Students, local artists, and residents work with the community to create handcrafted bowls. Then, in exchange for a cash donation, guests are asked to keep a bowl as a reminder of all the empty bowls in the world.
The bowls were made by everyone from almost toddlers. Some that painted them were just like 2- and 3-year-olds, to high school students, to college students, to professional potters in the area.
With their $20 ticket, which is you can use as a donation, you get to pick out an individual handcrafted clay bowl made by members of our community, and you get to go through the soup line, get your choice of soup, bread, and drink. And all of that, like I say, goes to feed those that are hungry in our area.
All proceeds from this year's event are donated to the Pike County Salvation Army Food Bank to help those in need.
We don't want anyone in our area to have an empty bowl. We don't want anyone to be hungry. So all the proceeds go to benefit our local food bank.
Samantha Charles, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Troy University's Environmental Club dedicated an entire week to celebrating the earth. Sarah Singletary shows us how they wrapped up the week's celebration.
It's Earth Week at Troy University, and the Environmental Club has been celebrating each day with different events and activities. And on Thursday, the group brought a wildlife demonstration to campus.
The animals are just really great for education purposes. It's easy to tell people, and try to describe what you're doing to them. The animals give you like a hands-on visualization of what kind of work we're doing. And it gives people an opportunity to learn about an animal that they would never get the opportunity to see otherwise.
This is the second year of the Troy University and Big Bend Wildlife Sanctuary partnership. And Big Bend owner John Moore says the partnership helps students learn more than what's in their textbooks.
It gives the students hands-on experience instead of just the book knowledge. And it's just really kind of a win-win situation, win for Troy, win for us, and we get the education of the people and making sure that we're doing things the right way.
Now, while the baby animals that are here on campus may seem cute and cuddly, one Big Bend volunteer reminds us that these animals are still naturally aggressive.
He knows that he's been around us, he knows that we're safe, but he can still hurt us, and that's what people forget. They'll go down and pick up that baby squirrel or that baby raccoon and want to keep them, and then they realize as he gets older, he's very aggressive. They're cute and little while they're babies, just like all babies, and then as they get older, they get that instinct in them and they can hurt you.
The Environmental Club's Earth Week activities have been leading up to Earth Day, which is this Friday. Sarah Singletary, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Italy, China, France, and Saudi Arabia are just a few of the countries ISCO has featured over the course of the semester. But for their final meeting of the semester, they took a look at their own backyard. Haley Greathouse explains.
Troy is Alabama's international university, and with this comes discussions and lectures on many different cultures. But sometimes we forget that our international students come to learn about America.
And we realize that although there are a lot of Americans that come to these events to learn about other countries, all of the international friends that we have are coming to learn about America. And so if we don't talk to them about, the northeast of America or the west coast of America, they might not get to learn about that or experience that since they're just here in Alabama. And so we thought having an American night to kind of wrap up would be a great way to educate the international students like they always educate us.
Americans have many traditions that can be confusing to international students.
Yeah, opening presents, yeah. Because for me, it still felt like, what if I don't like it? I don't want to be, fake it, but at the same time, I want to show the person that I appreciate the present. So learning that was really good for me because I'm a more private person, and I used to be like, okay, thank you. And the people are looking at me, and I don't know what they're expecting from me, and now I know they expect me to open it.
And sometimes what the international students expect does not match the facts in the presentation.
It surprised me how predominantly Christian America is. I expected a more diverse population of other religions. But I guess it is diverse, it's just predominantly Christian.
Overall, America can be a foreign place, different from what many students call home.
I really like that people never stop learning. Like Mr. McCall, he hiked the Appalachian Trail after he got his degree and started, he became a professor. That's not something a lot of people do back home, and I feel like that's the real American trait, like being young at heart.
ISCO will have a goodbye event next Thursday instead of a regular meeting. Haley Greathouse, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Troy University's dancers are showing off their talents in a show entitled Elements this week. Haley Greathouse gives us a look.
The elements are brought inside as the Troy Department of Theater and Dance presents the Spring Dance Showcase.
We have two acts in the show, and the first one is called Elements, and it's about the mythical storyline of the elements, earth, wind, fire, and air, and how they come to be, and how we think, the world has come to be, and then how they all work together in cohesion, and then they eventually just destruct one another.
The dancers have been working on the show since February, putting in many hours of rehearsal.
The rehearsal process all around is just very vigorous, and we rehearse 5 days a week at most, sometimes 6 with 1 day off.
And sometimes the most difficult part of the show isn't even dance.
I would probably say the different props that we use in some of the pieces and making sure that
it works how it's supposed to happen on stage, and also making sure that nobody gets hurt.
The second half of the performance is called Encore and features both parts of the department.
The theater and dance collaboration this year will be performed from Wicked. It is a piece that is collaborated from that show. And it features a few vocalist parts.
There's even a special guest performance.
There is also a piece they are doing from Hamilton, if you are familiar with that. It's one of the most renowned shows that has just been featured on Broadway. And it is being done by a group from Dothan.
Overall, the dancers hope the audience enjoys the journey.
All of us in general just want to take them through a journey, and a lot of the times we create pieces for them to really be influenced by it, not necessarily have a structured thought of what they should think, but to take what they can from it.
There was a slightly different musical performance happening on the quad Wednesday morning as students helped destroy a musical instrument to help fund music programs. Samantha Charles explains.
Looking for a way to take out the frustrations of upcoming finals but don't know how? Well, for just $1, the Brothers of Phi Mu Alpha let students take a swing.
Right now we're doing our semesterly piano bash fundraiser that we usually do around finals time so people can get their frustrations out because, you know, they don't want to take their finals, so smashing a piano is a good way to relieve stress for people.
They get a piano and, well, we bash it with sledgehammers. It's a lot of fun. You take a piano that's probably seen its better days playing, probably can't be fixed up, gives you something to do with it, and, you know, they make a little money that they can go towards whichever philanthropy they're doing for this year, which is usually one of the schools in the area they help out with. Like a couple years ago, I know they bought some guitars for one of the schools, things like that.
But where exactly did this piano come from?
We usually get them from local donors. Like this one right here is from Slocum, Alabama. A former Troy alumni is a director at a church there, and they had this old piano, and they're like, hey, Phi Mu Alpha, can you come pick it up? So we went down there and we got it, and now it's here.
The Piano Bash is held once a semester, and the brothers say this spring's event was a hit.
You hit things, it makes a cool sound like you can hear right now. I mean, I'm a music major myself, so hearing different sounds, it's one of the, just a thing. You don't normally do this to a piano, and you finally get an opportunity to do that sort of stuff, and it's not frowned upon. Like, if you were to do that to one of the band hall pianos, you'd get in at least a little bit of trouble. So it's a different way to express yourself in a way.
Well, it's time for our last break. When we return, we'll hear more from Trojan great DeMarcus Ware. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If a child with autism is missing, immediately search places that pose the most danger, such as nearby water and busy streets. For more ways to help, visit missingkids.com/aware.
Through the years, trends and styles may come and go, but the important things remain the same. Generation after generation, consistently there, creating moments and memories to last a lifetime. Like a true friend, the national parks have always been there for you, and now you can be there for them. Support the National Park Foundation and help protect America's treasured places.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
As we learned earlier in the show, Tuesday was DeMarcus Ware Day in Alabama, with the Trojan legend returning home to be honored. Ware sat down with Troy Trojan Vision News for a one-on-one interview to talk about the honor and his place in Troy history.
You know, it's been a great thing when you think about, you know, coming back home and getting welcomed the way that, you know, I've been welcomed, going into, you know, the Capitol and, you know, talking to the senator and talking to the governor, and they declaring, you know, April the 19th as, you know, DeMarcus Ware Day. That's something really, really big, man, and I wouldn't even fathom that coming from, you know, my years here at Troy. But then coming back here at Troy and seeing so many familiar faces, and then getting the leadership award here at Troy, it's very heartfelt. And you see the same familiar faces that are doing the same thing And that's the reason why I've gotten to where I am right now. People that's given me just a little bit of time that helped me out to get me where I need to be. It's a big thing because I sort of predicate my career on consistency and just determination and not giving up. And that's what I try to give everyone else every single year. With, you know, the way I play football, the way I sort of carry myself, and coming home and you see that people appreciated that over the 12 years, that 11 years I've been playing, and say, you know what, thank you for doing those things, for working so hard, because you've been an inspiration to me. You know what the thing is, sometimes when you leave a certain way and you go off and you sort of fly off like a bird and you sort of blossom a little bit, and then you come back and now they see sort of the fruits of your labor, but this right here is where I started. And you can sort of hear the sounding of the South in the background. I hear, you know, I've heard that for 4 years when I was here at Troy. And it's just amazing that some things don't have to change when it's perfect. And it's just great to, like I said, just to come back and have the opportunity to see that your hard work is welcomed, it was inspiring, and it was motivating, and helped out a lot of people. To me, when you think about Troy, I think about unity. I think about when I first got here at Troy, it was Troy State, and there are so many Troy States around the world, and they were trying to figure out how can we unite all the universities. So they changed the name to Troy University, because that means, you know what, we are one. There's only one football team, and getting the opportunity to sort of represent so many other people, that's been amazing. So that's what it sort of means to me, of unity. And that's what this world is trying to, you know, get to. You know, from winning the Super Bowl, you get the Super Bowl high of your own accomplishments, and as a team, you know what it feels like to win something that's bigger than yourself. But when you go home to a place where you sort of been deep rooted at, when you go to, you know, Montgomery, you have the DeMarcus Ware day. When you go to Troy, where you had your blood, sweat, and tears, when you walk through the locker room, when you look at the field where you practice at, you see your trainers and coaches, you see all those things. It's just amazing to have the opportunity to go back and sort of reminisce. And so you're not thinking about the accomplishments of the Super Bowl, you're thinking about where you started, the more sentimental things, the more heartfelt things that made you you. So that's why I'm enjoying that right now, because that's what's needed, that humbles you, that brings you back down to earth. I think that opportunity sort of was my birth, because no one else, you know, thought about giving me an opportunity. Tracy Rocker and Larry Blakeney, they came to my house and they were like, okay, will you sign with Troy? And I looked at them dead in my eyes and I told them, I have no choice but to sign with Troy, because you guys are the only people that gave me an opportunity. And I said, you know what do I need to sign? And just with that said, you know, Larry Blakeney and, you know, the staff here, everyone that's here, the Chancellor, Jack Hawkins, just everyone, just in general, just being part of, you know, my career, and especially even coming to, you know, Montgomery and supporting me there, it's just been an amazing journey. I do want to, you know, continue my, you know, academic career. I do want to get my MBA. Yeah, and I just want to figure out, you know, where that's going to take me. You know, I always wanted to, you know, teach and do computer science, but how can I use that in a way to where it's going to benefit not just myself, but, you know, people abroad. I think when things aren't going right from the last season, you think about where you messed up at, and you be your worst critic. You know, sometimes you can't have a whole bunch of chiefs amongst Indians, and you have to go back and, you know, be your worst critic, and you have to go back to the fundamental of things. And I think from talking to the guys in the room today, I felt that fire. I felt that motivation and what they needed to get them to that next level. They want it, and they know exactly what they need to do. So I'm excited about, you know, next season. I know they're going to get the job done. I think, you know, once a Trojan, always a Trojan. And the thing is, one thing about a Trojan is they always fight. No matter if you're losing or you're winning, you can lose, you know, the battles, but you don't lose the war. You know, some battles have been lost, but so be it. You know what, so have you prepared for the war? Has Trojan Nation prepared for the war to get ready? Because the football team's gotten ready. Are they ready?
And this is our last episode of TrojanVision Weekly for the spring. We hope you join us again when we resume in June. Until then, have a good week.